What's up, folks? I'm Chris, your MLB writer here at Occupy Fantasy. Here with a look at the short 6-game slate across Major League Baseball for MLB DFS on FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo here on Monday, June 6th. First thing, as always, we're going to start by looking at the weather, and tonight there may be a couple of rainouts that will turn this into a 4-game slate. The most likely game that is going to be postponed tonight is the Arizona Diamondbacks at the Cincinnati Reds in Cincinnati tonight. 91% chance of rain in our model right now, and the forecast apparently is pretty poor out there, so we're expecting that one to come off the board. Texas Rangers at Cleveland Guardians is rainy, but that one's a little dicey. That one could play tonight, so you're going to have to take that one right down to the wire at 6:40 p.m. for lock time tonight. So that's the big thing to keep in mind as we go through the top plays. First thing we do, as always, with top plays is look at starting pitchers. And there are a few high upside strikeout pitchers on this small slate tonight. First of which is number 1 in our model. It's Blake Snell of the San Diego Padres. Now, Snell did not start to begin the season for the Padres, but he has come on of late with a couple of outings where he's fully stretched out and went 6 innings and 5 1/3 innings last couple of outings, and the strikeout stuff has been there. So that's good, obviously. Snell has averaged about 1.2 strikeouts per inning over the last year of his work. So he's definitely in an advantageous spot here against the Mets. This is more of a coin flip type game. You see we have Carlos Carrasco, the opposing pitcher, third in our model today, and both of them have slight money line odds towards their favor with the juice baked in. So this is truly a coin flip either way. With the pitching, Snell gets the edge over Carrasco because of strikeouts. We project him for 1.16 strikeouts per inning pitched tonight against the Mets. The Mets are striking out at a below average rate, so this is why his kind of baseline rate is a little lower than it normally would be. Snell's batted ball exit velocity, okay, but the batted ball distance is a concern. It's the third furthest batted ball distance allowed out of any starting pitcher on this slate over the last 2 weeks. Number 2 in the model has number 1. He's the worst batted ball distance on the slate of pitchers over the last 2 weeks, but he brings the highest strikeout upside at 1.23 strikeouts per inning pitched as a projection against the Mariners. Christian Javier with the Houston Astros. I like Javier. I think that his 14.2 OF index, obviously being significantly lower than Snell's, is something to keep in mind, especially on FanDuel tonight, because Javier is more of like a bullpen arm who has been stretched out to start for them here in May and early June. So they sort of view Javier as an important piece of their pitching staff in that long relief to potential spot starter or fifth stick starter role. So his leash isn't as long as some of the other guys here, but he has really high strikeout upside. He averages 1.32 strikeouts per inning pitched. So even though Javier is limited typically, he's probably going to face about 20 to 22 batters before they pull him. That's what he's been averaging. He certainly can get some strikeouts in a hurry here and get you to 5+ innings and have a pretty good number. Javier is also the second biggest favorite on the slate at starting pitcher at a -162 money line status here early on Monday morning. Now, I do like Carlos Carrasco. I do think that may be the more advantageous side here slightly. The Padres have a below-average fantasy point production offense over the last month. They strike out slightly above average. Again, the thing with Carrasco is the strikeout upside is not as high as some of these other guys. We project him for just under a strikeout per inning. The StatCast batted ball data in both categories, exit velocity against, batted ball distance allowed, very good. Best overall resume here at the top of our pitcher model on the slate. So I do think Carrasco is probably worth considering, especially in low-risk contests, as the slight favorite there over Snell as well. And there's nothing wrong with running these two guys in the same lineup, by the way, if you're playing on DraftKings or Yahoo. Hunter Green with the Cincinnati Reds. That game's probably going to be rained out. Brings high strikeout upside, also has a miserable ERA. We see that in the batted ball distance allowed here. So Hunter Green, the type of guy that can mow guys down, but he can also just give up a bunch of hard hit balls and home runs and basically be blown up pretty quickly in his outings. Robbie Ray, we're starting to rank him a little lower, and that's because his 2022 has not been as strong as his 2021 was when he won the Cy Young. Projects for just under a strikeout per inning against the Astros, who are one of the harder lineups to strike out on this slate. Been that way for a few years with the Astros, so that's why Robbie Ray is down here as well. We like to look at the pitchers that we rank the worst as a starting point for which offenses we should stack on any given slate. And tonight, it does look like that's Daniel Lynch for the Kansas City Royals. Madison Bumgarner with the Diamondbacks, but again, we expect a rain out there in Cincinnati, so I'm skipping that one. Noah Syndergaard against the Boston Red Sox. Michael Wacha against the Los Angeles Angels. So we like both sides of this late game in Los Angeles, the Red Sox and the Angels as well. Let's see what the model thinks Interesting thing there, both those pitchers, though, they have pretty favorable StatCast data on their side as pitchers. So it'll be interesting and curious to see how our model ranks the stacks with the Angels and the Red Sox. The Angels are a favorite stack on the board against Michael Wacha. Number 1 by OF index, number 1 by projected isolated slugging, number 3 by weighted on base average on the slate, and modest team total. Arizona, again, I'm thinking that's postponed, so that's going to come off here. Toronto is probably the popular stack tonight. Number 3 by OF index, number 4 by projected isolated slugging, but the ever important weighted on base average projection, highest on this slate. We do think that it correlates the best with fantasy point production other than OF index, so it's just floor and upside there for Blue Jays hitters. Highest team total means everybody's going to be playing them tonight. The Houston Astros are another interesting option with the third highest team total on the slate, and their power upside, we project them for the second highest projected isolated slugging, decent weighted on base average. Down here a little lower, I mentioned Noah Syndergaard being a little lower in our pitcher model. Boston Red Sox with the fourth highest weighted on base average projection on this slate suggests they may be an interesting high-risk play that may go slightly overlooked at this low team total on this slate. In our model, we do like some of the high-end Angels and Blue Jays hitters a lot. You see Mike Trout, Teoscar Hernandez, George Springer, Jared Walsh, Shohei Ohtani. I do think when you run our lineup builder, you'll find you get a lot of these guys in your lineups tonight. In fact, first thing I did this morning before shooting the video, ran our lineup builder without any constraints, selected some pitchers I like, the guys I've already talked about, and I got Angel stacks in over 70% as primary stacks in a 300 lineup MME run. So our model definitely likes Angel stacks tonight. If you cap that a little bit and try to spread things out, you're going to get an even blend of Blue Jays and Angel stacks as primary stacks. I capped my hitter exposure to about 35% on a second run globally, and that gave me about 40% primary stacks between Angels and Blue Jays using our lineup builder. So no surprise there. Our model has a high degree of consensus with what the stack dashboard is telling us. Now tonight with the Los Angeles Angels against Michael Wacha, what can we expect? I mean, I'm in the habit of writing in our daily plug and saying always Trout. Trout is a great hitter, by far the anchor of this stack. 9.8 OF index is full 2.5 points higher than anybody else in this lineup we could potentially roster. Michael Wacha historically allows an elite weighted on base average to right-handed hitters. So that means Matt Duffy, Mike Trout, Max Stassi here, Joe Adell, and Andrew Velasquez even at shortstop would be in the best matchup splits with Michael Wacha, but obviously we have no problem playing guys like Shohei Ohtani and Jared Walsh, who on their own have very good splits against right-handed pitchers like Michael Wacha. On the Blue Jays side of things, they are facing Daniel Lynch, who's a lefty, and there's a lot of lefty matchers in this Blue Jays lineup. Teoscar Hernandez is the best overall hitter in the anticipated lineup against left-handed pitching. Someone a little lower in our model to take a closer look at, Santiago Espinal. Second base, third base here on DraftKings, second base everywhere else you can play him. The highest weighted on base average against left-handed pitching over the last year or so of plate appearances for Blue Jays hitters in this lineup that we anticipate. So even though we have just a 3 OF index for Santiago Espinal, he may be an interesting lower-owned option in Blue Jays stacks tonight as a point of differentiation. Over on DraftKings, I have slotted in our top pitcher, Blake Snell. I have slotted in 5 high upside Blue Jays hitters. See, I have 46.25 per player remaining. I like Christian Javier the best as the next pitcher that you can go with, 31.33 per player. I think there's certainly a path here to get to a decent 5-3 stack in your DraftKings lineups running these two guys tonight. I think that it might be a little tighter, but you may be able to do that as well, even with Carrasco, if you like him over Blake Snell this evening. Over on FanDuel, Blake Snell, 4 high upside Blue Jays hitters. That is how I think I'm going to attack this slate tonight. It certainly is going to be an interesting one. It may end up being a shorter one with the rainouts, so we will see how things shake out this evening. We like Blake Snell as the number 1 pitcher on this slate. We like the Blue Jays. We like the Los Angeles Angels as primary stacks that you can use to attack this slate. Keep an eye out for the daily plug. We'll have that posted at OccupyFantasy.com by about 5:30 p.m. Eastern. That's where we will have our final rankings for the entire day uploaded and available for you to consume. If you want to talk about MLB DFS up until then, you can consider joining our Discord. There's a link to do so below the description of every video we post on this channel. We'd love to see you in there. Good luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow for more MLB DFS.